I had a chance to speak with director David Kirkman, whose film Underneath Children of the Sun will screen at this year's Kansas City Film Fest International on Friday, April 12th at 9:20 p.m. A Q&A with the director will follow immediately after the screening. You can get tickets now at kcfilmfest.org. Alrighty, so thanks so much for speaking with me today, David, and I am thrilled to talk about Underneath Children of the Sun, which we are going to be screening at this year's Kansas City Film Fest. So I ask all of the filmmakers this question, and I'll start out with you as well. Tell me what your movie is all about.
Yeah, so Underneath Children of the Sun basically ponders this question. Like, imagine in the mid 1800s, an enslaved black man comes across a crashed alien spaceship, and the alien happens to look like similar to him, in his
Mhm.
skin tone and whatnot. And finds himself in this kind of intergalactic crisis. And we kind of go through this idea of legacy and timelines and things of that nature, and how that kind of connects to part of our heritage as African Americans. And so it ponders quite a bit. It's a black futurist, or I guess people coin the term Afrofuturist
Mhm.
type film. Uh, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's a full feature film, and I think there's images on there that we really haven't really seen before on the big screen. So yeah.
So your film, with it being a sci-fi film, it has a ton of special effects, very ambitious. What was
Mhm.
it like putting that all together?
Well, the incredible thing is I had, a lot of help. It wasn't just
Mhm.
my me doing. I did wear a lot of hats, like any independent filmmaker. But
Mhm.
there's a young guy out there. His name is Jamar Curry,
Mhm.
who's out in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Mhm.
And he had reached out to me several years ago while he was in college, that he had written a paper about my independent production company, Woke Nation Studios, and how we made this viral short film called, it was based on the DC character called Static Shock. So
Mhm.
he had written a paper about it and reached out and said he was doing visual effects.
Mhm.
And this was back in 2018 or 19. And we
Mhm.
just kind of remained like really cool since then. And so, we got him out here to St. Louis in 2022, 2022.
Mhm.
And he was out here for a month or so, and he was just helping advise the visual effects and things like that, what we can do, what he thinks is possible while on set. And it was me and him, and the edit, we basically tag teamed the entire, visual effects aspect. I did the
Mhm.
smaller stuff. He did like a lot more the big stuff. So it was great to have like his. I think he's a wizard and a young genius, and so yeah,
Mhm.
that's how we were able to really get it done. Honestly.
And this was all filmed in Missouri, right?
Well, most of it was shot in Missouri.
Mhm.
The other aspects of it with the sand dunes, and us being in the Rocky Mountains at
Mhm.
9,000 feet elevation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those are all shot in Colorado.
Mhm.
And it just had these incredible vistas I've never really seen before. And it wasn't until my business partner, Jason Wilson, had really recommended that we go there. Because I was looking at shooting some
Mhm.
things in Texas. And obviously, that's a completely different vibe than what we currently have in product. But he was like, no, you got to go to, yeah, I think you should go to Colorado because me and my family just got back from a vacation there. And it's un, it's otherworldly. It's something that you haven't really seen before.
Mhm.
Colorado had this the Great Sand Dunes. I think hundreds, like 100,000 acres or something like that to that extent.
Mhm.
Sand dunes, and these things are like these dunes are almost as big as like the mountains that surround the area.
Mhm.
And I just, I was kind of blown away. Number one, we were able to go there a couple times,
Mhm.
which was really cool. And number two, when we got back to St. Louis, we did shoot, um, everything pretty much here. We shot a little bit in Illinois
Mhm.
for a couple things, but not too much. Yeah.
And you've talked a little bit about representation in the sci-fi genre, and
Mhm.
what do you hope that this film and what do you hope just in general that we see more of when it comes to Black representation in the sci-fi genre?
No, my hope is that we just get balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really a thing of like, a certain group of people, coming in and saying, "Hey, stop doing this kind of thing," and that's not really what it's about. I think you know, even in how Black people are currently represented across the globe in mainstream media on a consistent basis,
Mm-hmm.
I think those are very real stories. Those are very much, a lot of them are very much a part of our reality. And the whole thing is that we don't want to negate. I don't want to live in a world where, all I'm getting is just the trauma of Black people,
Mm-hmm.
historically. But I also don't want to live in a world where it's nothing but fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I think we just need balance in that. And I think you're gonna see more voices across the diaspora, across the globe, sharing stories that are riveting and that are really pushing the boundaries of how imaginative your mind can actually be, where
Mm-hmm.
there's no limit to what you can imagine, what you can put on screen. That really excites me. And that's kind of like, that's why I don't feel like I have like an agenda or anything, because I'm in my own lane. And again, like just staying in that, I think, we'll begin to see some of that balance out here in the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic film. I encourage everyone that's going to the Kansas City Film Fest to check this out, Underneath Children of the Sun. To wrap this up a little bit, just let me know, what are you most excited for people to discover as more and more people see your film?
Yeah, I suppose number one, like I said, I know this is a really big claim. Really, I don't think there's really been images that have ever, with Black people in them, have ever been seen before on screen. Just being in these vast, incredible places,
Mm,
I think would help just like stretch to see what's possible on screen,
mm,
for people of color and Black people and Black women especially.
mm,
And I think uh, I'm excited for people to see that, number one, that we can tell multifaceted stories.
mm,
Even though this is like the sci-fi fantasy, but it's a very dense film.
mm,
You have to think about it. You may have to watch it a couple times, depending upon, the context of the viewer.
mm.
Um, but I really, really am excited about for people to just experience what's possible. And
Yeah.
that's what gets my fire going. So
Yeah, and it's a great film. So we're so excited to have it with KC Film Fest, and anyone who's going out to the film festival, check this film out. And thanks again for speaking with me.
no, thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate it.